Hi everyone, this is Dr. Fawnensteel, and I just wanted to quickly go over our lesson for this week, and I apologize again for having to do this online, but I really appreciate it. Sometimes our schedules get a little crazy. This is Chapter 6. This is the cognitive learning theories. What I wanted to go over, and I'm not going to waste a lot of your time because I know you can read a lot of this on your own and probably already have in this last week. Some of the things on Blackboard you will probably already see that I have posted. The assignment is the information processing assignment, and I want to show you what that looks like. In Blackboard, if you go to the course materials, you will see, and I'm going to show you here because I have it actually on my laptop. So you will see it, information processing, where my little hand is pointing there. The information processing is what the assignment is for this week, and it's just one page, 10 questions, and I want to show you what it looks like. If some of you haven't looked at it already, I just put it up there a little bit ago. But basically, one of the things I wanted to look at, excuse me, is the short-term memory, sensory register, long-term memory, and I want you to differentiate which one of those three. So basically you're going to be picking in these 10 situations which one of those you think it is. Is it sensory register? Is it short-term memory? Is it long-term memory? So there's 10 situations, and I will show you again. There are 10 situations, and so you will go through and just simply list which one of those you think it is. Is it sensory register? Is it short-term memory or long-term memory? So that is the assignment for this week, and since I did not get it posted last night, it will actually, I'm going to give you an extra day to do it. So it won't be it won't be due until next Thursday by 11:59 p.m. So I put that on there too, on Blackboard. So it will be due on the 28th. So we'll have class next Wednesday night on campus, and it will be due on Thursday night, the 28th by 11:59 p.m. So that is the assignment. And then the other thing right underneath the information processing, the only other thing we have to go over is the vocabulary information, which this time I just went ahead and put in a PowerPoint. And it is the cognitive theories of learning. And I'm just going to go quickly through them. So the cognitive theories of learning, right here, and I am just going to hold this differently so you can see it a little easier. In fact, I'm going to switch this stuff around so don't get too sick on me. Hold on. All right, hopefully you can see that pretty good there, and I'm trying to use the laptop and my iPad, so you'll have to forgive me here. I'm doing this on my own again. But let me get this started. Oh, sorry about that. Still have family issues going on, and we're trying to deal with stuff, so I have family texting from across the country. So there's like 23, I think, or 24 words we're going to go through that I thought were probably the most important I wanted to talk about. One is attention. Seems pretty easy, but when you think of attention as just a limited resource, and a lot of times in a classroom, we always tell kids, give me your attention, or why can't you just, hold, why can't I just hold on to these kids? Why do I always lose their attention? If we think of it in limited time, limited resource, it is a very limited resource. And if we think of it as, a lot of times, and I can't remember who did the study, but it was done where they found out that kids can only, and really it's even true for adults, that you only have their attention for as long as their age. So like if they're 8 years old, you lose them after 8 minutes. If they're 10 years old, you really lose them after 10 minutes. So, and that doesn't mean that you can't get them back. It just means that you need to get them up and moving, or even if it's just like a little stretch break, stand up, stretch, sit back down, just get their brain going again. So attention is a limited resource. Automaticity is a level of rapidity and ease such that a task or skill involves little or no mental effort. So it's just automatic. So just like it sounds, automaticity. Distributed practice to practice newly learned information a little each day over a period of time until it is thoroughly learned. And this one, I'm going to go back to math. It just reminds me of like the distribution property. So how you kind of share it over time. So it's, going a little and you're going here and there, and it's just going, you're over time sharing it. Dual code theory of memory. Information is retained in long-term memory in two forms. It's visual and verbal. So not just one, but the two. So the dual code. Elaboration. The process of thinking about material to be learned in a way that connects to the material to information or ideas that are already in the learner's mind. So the learner already has this information, but you are just elaborating on it. So you are actually getting into that information a little more, and you are pulling in that information and having them process it more. Enactment is learning by doing, so acting, just like the word says right in the middle of it. So physically acting out or carrying out a task. Episodic memory is our memory of personal experiences or episodes, if you want to think of it that way. A mental movie of things that we saw or heard. So it's in our memory, the episodes that we're playing in our mind. Those are our personal experiences that we play over and over in our mind. That's our episodic memory. Free recall memory is assimilating a list of items that need not be remembered in order. So just random thoughts that don't necessarily need to be in any order. So definitely not like certain math terms or things like that. Inert knowledge, knowledge that could and should be applicable to a wide range of situations, but is applied only to a restricted set of circumstances. So very strict on that. So restricted set of circumstances. Information processing theory. Information that is to be remembered passes through the senses and then attended to and transferred from the sensory register to the working memory, and then it's going to be processed again for transfer to the long-term memory. Interference. This happens when information gets mixed up with or pushed aside by any other information. The levels of processing theory. It's where people are subject to stimuli and then to different levels of mental processing, and they retain only the information that has been subjected to the most thorough processing. The Loci method. Its student thinks of a very familiar set of locations, such as rooms in his or her house, and then imagines each item on the list to be remembered in one specific location. So it's kind of thinking of a familiar set of locations, and then imagining each item on the list to be remembered in a specific location. So it's using that specific method. So when you have to remember, like say math facts, for instance, but you picture a room in your house and you picture these math facts in that room. Kind of a strange method, but to use for math facts, but that kind of gives you an idea of what that method is. Massed practice is to practice newly learned information intensively until it is thoroughly learned. So that would be your repetitive, over and over, intensely learning things over and over and over. Meaningful learning is non-arbitrary learning that's related to information or concepts that learners already have. So they already have these concepts, but it's information that it's not arbitrary to them. So they're already learning this, and it's just more meaningful to them. Metacognition, we should all know what this is. So it's thinking about your learning. So knowledge about one's own learning or about how to learn. Mnemonics are memory devices used to help learning occur. Paired associate learning is learning to respond with one member of a pair when given the other member. So usually from a list of pairs to be memorized. So if you have a lot of times we'll see a list of things, like if you have a Oh, like definitions, and then you like have a paper and you fold it hot dog style. You'll see people do it like taco style, and you'll have different teachers do it different ways, and they'll have like terms on one side and definitions on the other, and so it's like paired associate learning where they have to learn one, and it might be I'm going to tell you the word and you give me the definition, or I'm going to give you the definition and you tell me the word. Different things like that are paired associate learning. The primacy effect, the tendency to learn the first items presented. So primary, so primacy, first items presented. Facilitation, there's two different types. Proactive facilitation is when previous learning can help a person learn similar information. So proactive is learning similar information. Retroactive facilitation is learning something new helps a person understand something that they already learned, but understand it better. So proactive is learning similar information. Retroactive is helping them understand something or learn something new, but helping them understand something better that they had already learned. Inhibition, so just like facilitation, inhibition also has two. Retroactive and proactive. Retroactive is when previously learned information is lost because it's mixed up with new and somewhat similar information. And then proactive inhibition is when sometimes previous knowledge interferes with learning later information. And I'm not going to go into that because I don't want you to get it mixed up with the other. So I'll let you read through that again. You can kind of process all four of those on your own. Recency effect, the tendency to learn the last elements. Okay, so the primacy was learning the first, the recency is learning the last. Procedural memory refers to knowing how in contrast to knowing that. So knowing how something, you want to know the procedures, knowing the how. Rehearsal, the process of maintaining an item in working memory by repetition. So I think of musicians, and I think of, drama people and different people that, even ministers, different people that have to rehearse things, that have to do things, that have to practice. If you have a speech, different things you have to do where you have to practice things. So definitely rehearsal. Rote learning, the memorization of facts or associations such as multiplication tables, chemical symbols for the elements, etc. There's a bunch of them. List goes on and on. That's actually rote learning. Schemata, networks of connected ideas or relationships. So networks of connected ideas or relationships. Peg word method, the method in which a student memorizes a list of peg words that rhyme with the numbers 1 to 10. Method in which a student memorizes a list of peg words that rhyme with the numbers 1 to 10. The only thing I can tell you on that one is just Google it and kind of look at some of the examples. It's pretty interesting. Semantic memory, long term, contains the facts and generalized information that we know, concepts, principles, or rules, and how to use them, and our problem-solving skills and learning strategies. So again, semantic is long term, and it contains the facts and generalized information that we know already. And that is basically it. So like I said, really not a lot. You don't have a, let me turn this back around so I can talk to you. You don't have a lot of information to do. You need to, you can go back and look at those. They're on Blackboard. So you can go back and go through the vocabulary terms more on your own time. You will be able to, you don't have to print them off or anything. They're just for your use. You will find more information in the book, and I'm sure you did in your reading and stuff, and there's even more words in there, but those were the ones that I really wanted to touch on and give you a little more information, a little more detail. The information processing assignment, like I said, I'm giving you an extra day on that, so it will be due next Thursday evening. Tests that we took last week, I will hand those out next Wednesday night in class, so you can look at your grades and stuff. If you were not happy with your grade, We can talk about that. Usually, if you got below an A, I usually let people fix the ones they missed, and then I will average the test. So I'll let them fix the ones they missed, and then turn it back in to be graded again, and then I will average the test scores. So that'll be an option if you have below an A. So we can talk about that next week. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon.